Hi Richard, tell me about the Bats campaign.
Well, the baths beside us for generations served as a public amenity for thousands of residents of the Dún Laoghaire area and far beyond. Generation after generation learned to swim in the Dún Laoghaire baths. It was a place where mothers could bring their kids for the day. The admission was very cheap, so it was accessible to everybody. So it was a very important community hub for the Dún Laoghaire area. But for the last number of years, the baths have been allowed to become derelict and closed down. And we set up the Save Our Seafront campaign because we believed that this was a result of a deliberate policy by the council with the intention of selling or handing over the Dún Laoghaire bath site to private developers. Because of course a seafront site like this could potentially be hugely profitable for developers. And our fears were realised when on two occasions in recent years the council and private developers consorted to put forward plans for enormous high-rise apartment and office block developments on this site. And on both occasions the Save Our Seafront group gathered thousands of signatures and petitions of opposition. We mobilised enormous demonstrations to oppose any privatised or high-rise development of the bath site and to insist that Dún Laoghaire baths be restored as a public amenity that's accessible to all. Most recently, we had a proposal by the council to put a 10-storey apartment and office block on the bath site. And we responded very quickly in the Save Our Seafront campaign by gathering 14,000 signatures opposing that plan and mobilising three of the biggest demonstrations Dún Laoghaire has ever seen, the biggest of which brought 5,000 people onto the streets. And we defeated those proposals and have now forced the council to commit themselves to restoring Dún Laoghaire baths as a public amenity. So that's been a huge victory for people power that's been achieved by the Save Our Seafront campaign. However, the battle to save Dún Laoghaire baths and the public seafront is not over. We have still to get firm commitments of full public funding for the bath site. We haven't got a clear timetable yet for the reopening of the baths, so we're going to continue our campaign until we secure those ends. But also, the battle for the seafront goes way beyond Dún Laoghaire baths. There are many sites right along the seafront, from Killiney to Booterstown and indeed beyond, which are being targeted by private developers for the same reasons as they targeted Dún Laoghaire baths. Sites like the Blackrock baths are currently owned by Treasury Holdings, and a plan we believe is being hatched by Treasury Holdings and the council for some sort of commercial development of that site. The Harbour Company have proposed a 10-storey apartment block on the Carlisle Pier in Dún Laoghaire Harbour. We also have traditional harbour users like small boat clubs and fishermen being squeezed out of the harbour by a privatisation agenda being spearheaded by the Harbour Company. We have sites like the tea rooms on Killiney Beach, which are again derelict and which have been targeted by developers. The council also recently rezoned Bullock Harbour, which is an amenity harbour and a fishing harbour, and the rezoning now allows for major commercial development of that harbour, which would destroy it as an amenity. So the Save Our Seafront campaign is continuing to campaign for real protection for the seafront, to ensure that the public seafront is only developed as a public amenity that is accessible to all, and that it shouldn't become the exclusive or private property of a developer or a small wealthy elite. And we've gained huge support for that campaign, but obviously in the forthcoming election that will be a central plank of my election campaign.
Richard.